Welcome to the Maria Heller Show, the Internet's original podcast. Since the year 2000, always ahead of the curve, always on your side. A true warrior for truth and justice, Maria and her guests leave nothing out, and no one is off limits. There is only one truth, the rest is lies. Sit back, enjoy the education with a true daughter of Mother Earth. Sharp New York wit, spiritual knowing, and a very dry sense of humor, Maria will dissect the news and lies to make it all palatable. Education is power. Maria delivers rapid-fire truth like no one else can. Here she is, the mouth that roars, the legendary Maria Heller.
Good morning, world. Maria here, alive and kicking. Welcome to Awaken with Meria and Monnica, which has become a pretty favorite show of my listeners. Good morning, Monnica.
Good morning, Maria. How are you?
I'm doing good. And for new listeners, this is Monnica Sepulveda. You can check her work out at Monnica with two N's, MONNICA.com.
Right.
Doing okay. You know, we're looking at the crazy world and once again reminding people that the most important thing about being on this planet is living the path that we came here to live.
Yeah, and a lot of people have a hard time finding that.
Well, I think that a lot of people don't want to or don't know or realize that they pretty much have set up their timeline for what they wanted to achieve in this lifetime before they got here.
And I think a lot of that, Maria, is because we're overeducated and we use too much of the left brain and not enough of the right. And if we switch over, and I can show people how to do that very easily with a couple of really simple tips, you'll start to realize that you don't think of what your purpose is, you feel it.
Right.
And when you feel it, which is right brain intuition, then you know where you're going to go because you start to do what you would love to do, not what you think you have to do.
Right, and I think there's so many people that are doing what they think they have to do.
And that comes from parents, teachers, peer pressure. You got to do this, you got to do that. I mean, it's unbelievable how we cave and we don't listen because our left brain is overly educated. But that stuff, the left brain is all history. The right brain, if people understood that it gives us direction now, it gives us instruction now, it tells us what to do now. It is a beautiful thing to have activated, and people don't know how to do that. And this is one of the reasons why we do what we do is because we use our right brain a lot more, which is our intuitive abilities and the abilities to communicate interdimensionally.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's amazing.
Right. Well, what do they say? Left-handed people are in their right mind.
And I'm left-handed.
So am I. There's another little thing we have in common.
I love it. I love it. Except I'm ambidextrous. The only thing I do with my left hand is write with my left hand. I do everything else with the right hand.
Well, that's good. They give them equal exercise.
Absolutely. And back in the day, I remember that, they tried to give me lefty scissors to cut left-handed, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it.
Well, I try to tell people, think about it. Everything in this world is created for right-handed people. And the fact that left-handed people can use all those instruments shows you that, maybe maybe we got something going on there.
Oh, and back in the day, the nuns used to hit you with the ruler if you wrote with your left hand. I mean, it sounds ridiculous.
Well, because they used to say the devil was left-handed. So, as if the devil, A, exists, 2, has hands. So... But I remember that, and everybody looking at us like we were freaks because we were left-handed. But luckily, they never tried to tie our hand behind us or any of that crap and force us to use our right hands.
Oh, it's insane. And I've got to tell you this: there's a couple of little things that the listeners can do right now, very quickly. Clasp your hands together and look to see which thumb is on top, and then write that down. Is the right thumb on top or is the left thumb on top? And once you've done that, then switch it and put the other one on top, and you'll see that it feels uncomfortable. It's not natural. Mm-hmm. That's one exercise. The second one is cross your arms, which arm is on top, and write that down. And try to cross your arms with the other one on top, and it's almost impossible to do. So once you have your answers to that, if the right thumb is on top, that means the left brain is dominating. If the left arm is on top, that means the right brain is dominating, which means you're using both hemispheres as they're balanced. Now, if you have right and right for both of them, then you're clearly left brain. And the best way to activate the right brain is to actually, when you're like in line waiting to pay for groceries or anything, all you do is shift your weight over to the left side of your body to start activating the right, since it controls the left side of the body, or start picking things up with your left hand. And conversely, if you have the left thumb over and the left arm over, then you're using a lot of the right brain and not enough of the left brain, because you have to be sensible as well. If you're too right brain, there's an oversensitivity that's taking place.
Right.
And that's not good either, because then everything's taken personally. There's too much empathy, and that can pull you down, because empathy is a wonderful gift. But if there's too much of that, then that it causes almost suffering, because you can feel the pain of the world,
Exactly.
So you have to reel this stuff in.
Exactly.
So you can do that. And then shift your weight over to the right side if you need more left brain. It's just very simple exercises, but they work.
Absolutely. Listen, that's all I teach is shortcuts and simple exercises.
Get right to the point. We don't have to do those long things that we did back in, when I was studying in the late 60s and early 70s. It's like, we didn't have this kind of simple little test to do. They kind of came up later.
Right.
We didn't have the information back then. We didn't have a lot of teachers. We didn't have any books. Books that I accumulated were all written in the early 1900s, and I found them all scattered across the country. Nowadays, there's an overflow of information, which is, I remember, Maria, back in the late 60s, early 70s, I remember my teacher saying, someday in the future, in the next century, information is going to be so accessible, it's going to be so quick, and I'm like thinking like, well, how is that going to happen?
Right. Meanwhile, instead of using the world that they have at their fingertips to actually educate, people want to post pictures of cats and their dinner. So it's really your intention. If you want to learn, there's plenty out there. It's interesting because I was talking to a woman this morning before the show. And, she was talking about how she told her kids basically the same thing, and said, when we were young, we had to go to the library, we had to do research, we had to go dig through books. I mean, you have everything right at your fingertips. Why not use it?
And, I kept all those books that were written in the early 1900s. They were the best.
I'm sure.
They were the best. Oh, my gosh, Florence Scovel Shinn. The Game of Life and How to Play It, The Power of the Spoken Word, The Secret Door to Success, Your Word is Your Wand. Those were my first books, and they were written in 1924, 1930s, and the last one was in the early 40s, and then she passed away. But now they've compiled all four of her books, and you can get the book called The Wisdom of Florence Scovel Shinn, Shinn, on Amazon. And people sell their used books there. You get it for like $1.25.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Best material. It's still on my desk. As the first book I ever read at age 16.
Wow. Well, good for you. I mean, I think I started out like a lot of people just reading Edgar Cayce.
Oh, yeah. That was, I think, more in the 70s that I was reading those. But she was more, for me, it was 1967, 66, 67. And, sometimes when you're talking about your path, you get a calling right away. And some people have to look for them. I got a calling right away. I knew back in the day, in 1962, there was a television show called One Step Beyond. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, barely.
It was, and the host was John Newell, and he was creepy. But they were all true stories, metaphysical, spiritual, all true stories that people submitted about their experiences, and then they played them out in episodes. You can still buy, now they have them on DVD, you can still buy them. And they were so good, and stories of telepathy and stuff, and I'd watch them with my dad, and I'd say, I want to do that someday. Here I am, 10 years old, 11 years old. I want to do that someday. I want to be able to talk, with my mind. So it's interesting that when you have a calling like this, like you and I have, it comes to us at a pretty early age. Regardless of what your left brain thinks, I wanted to be a translator at the UN. Yeah, right. The only thing I'm translating now is information from the other side.
Right. Well, you are translating.
We're interpreting.
Be careful what you ask for. You never know how it's going to show up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So finding your purpose is something that is felt. You have to feel it. And I first got, the thought about that when Walt Disney, of all people, said that do what you love to do with your time, that you could do it all day long for 10, 12 hours, and it's fun. He used to like to draw cartoons like the mouse, Mickey Mouse. House, Donald Duck, you know. Donald Duck, no, is it Daffy Duck? I don't know which is the one.
Donald Duck.
It's Donald Duck. Okay, there's Daffy Duck and Donald Duck. Okay, one is Merry Melodies and the other one is Disney. Anyway, he used to love to do that, and he started drawing cartoons, and that's how he started.
Well, you know, there's a great movie about Walt Disney and how he started. I watched it, I don't know, maybe a year ago. And it was pretty fascinating. I don't remember what the name, it might have been Disney and Company or something like that, but it was pretty interesting when you look at how some people have a dogged determination to succeed at what they love.
Yeah, and that's the key word, is what you love. And that's what he said to do, is whatever it is that you love to do. Follow that path, not what you think.
I know, because a lot of my friends, you know, we'll all just sit around talking about crazy stuff. And they'll be all, you know, if you were super rich, what would you be doing? And I just look at them and I say, I'd be doing the same exact thing I'm doing now.
Exactly.
If I didn't like doing what I do, I stop.
Right. Exactly. You know, like I was inspired about a month ago to start writing a book, and I thought, well, you know, let me give this title to my friend David Icke, you know, our friend David. And he said, no, I wouldn't be writing that book for a long time. And then my spirit guide said, write it yourself, Monica. So I started. I'm on chapter 8.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not me, right? I've never written before, but man, it's coming out really good because it's inspired.
Good. That's great.
It's very right brain. But I also ask kids, you know, that are don't know what to do, what to major, and I go, wait a minute. If your life was a perfect 10, what would you be doing? Mm-hmm. You know, just let me wave a magic wand and your life is a perfect 10. Describe it to me. What are you doing?
Right.
And this takes them out of that left brain and they go in to start imagining instead.
Right.
You know, for people who have trouble imagining, do you remember we used to create vision boards back in the day?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, vision boards really help people that have difficulty with visualization. Because not everybody's visual. Some people are auditory. Some people are kinesthetic.
Exactly. But listen, I just tell people, you know, you have a good way of saying it, but I will tell people, you know, if time and money weren't an issue, what would you be doing?
I love that. Now, that's really good for people that are more adults, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I ask this for teenagers. I ask them that question to teenagers. Because sometimes these kids, they want to do something like, I want to be able to design, you know, and yet their parents are pressuring them to become an accountant or an attorney or whatever.
Right.
No, I want to be a designer, you know. And when you look at the numerology and their numbers, it's like the numbers that are like 3, 6, and 9, those are the ones that are the most creative and the most about helping people and healing. And no, numbers is number 8, number 7, you know, and it's like, no. And then the actor number is like the number 5. They need projects all the time. So you have to look at these things. The numerology, if you told your month, day, and year of your birth and you, you know, reduce it to a single digit, that'll tell you what your purpose is. That's your birth force. So that's really interesting. That's why I love numbers so much, you know. And I'm right. But numerology is easy. There's a great book called Numerology, The Romance in Your Name by Juno Jordan, Jordan. She's passed on, but when I got her book back in the early 80s, she was, I think, 82 at the time. So her book is the easiest to follow. It's the most accurate, and she has a companion book called Your Right Action Number, and that's, you need to get both of those.
Well, that's interesting that you say that because, you know, this weekend my younger granddaughter turned 21. And ever since she was a little girl, she wanted to be a tattoo artist. I mean, the girl is a fabulous artist. And here it is, you know, a lot of people telling her, you know, through her life that it was a bad idea. You're never going to make money at it. She never lost sight of her vision. She hung in there for 2 years apprenticing, even though she was dead broke going through her apprenticeship. But today she's a tattoo artist. She never lost sight of what she wanted to do. And I encouraged her the whole way. And I told her how proud I am of her for having that kind of determination.
And what's in trend right now? Tattooing. You see it everywhere. Everyone's getting tattoos. Talk about foresight. You know what I mean? She saw in advance. And the time has come. I mean, this is so popular right now that there's television shows about it. I
know, it's crazy. She said, when are you going to get a tattoo? I said, never.
I thought of one. I wanted to do the symbol of Om because it's so beautiful.
All right.
But I chickened out.
Well, every body part I told her I wanted to put a symbol on. She says, Grandma, that's a really painful part. So
exactly.
So then I was like, okay, I'll just use the Sharpie and draw it myself. And then when it wears off, the hell with it.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Or get one of those little transfer things that last for like a day.
Right. When we were kids, you had those stick-on tattoos. You just licked it and slapped it on your arm and peeled it off.
Oh, yeah.
Monica, we got a bunch of questions from listeners, and I will tell you that I'm very pleased with the response from the audience, not just on this show, but also the shows I've been doing with Michael Rekia.
Good.
And it just shows that the spiritual shows are still where it's at 20 years later, okay? Because these are the shows that give people directions and some hope and real reality. So I don't know if you want to get started on these questions or not.
Honey, it's your show. You tell me what to do.
Okay. Well, first I have to say, Rebecca says hello. She wanted me to tell you that.
Hello.
And this is a lady that I believe probably listens to the show through Gary Knoll's network, and she missed the cutoff last month by a day, so she was very sad. So I saved her question because that's what I do. Okay.
Aww.
Her name is Marilyn. Her date of birth is October 10th, 1956.
Okay.
And she's got a 3-part question. When am I going to be financially stable to assist other people? Why do I always have people at every job I had disliking me before they get to know me? And do you see someone entering my life?
Oh my gosh. So she wants a reading.
She wants a whole reading. So if you want to take one question, that's fine. If you want a real reading, that's what we do for a living. Okay. I'm certainly not getting rich on this show. Okay. Okay, so 10/10/1956, right? Right.
Okay, so that would be 6, so 3, 4, 5. Okay. All right, she's got to stay. I'm going to use her birthday, and I'm going to give her that kind of reading.
Okay.
First of all, she's in a 7-year right now, which means it's very important for her to lay the foundation in order to make more money. I feel with her that she is in struggle mentality most of the time. Even though I feel that she's very good at what she does, this woman should have been in her own business a long time ago, but it looks like something undermined her, perhaps her own confidence. Had she been in her own business, she would have thrived. With respect to her countenance and why people don't like her, she needs to smile more and be the first to extend herself. Hi, my name is so-and-so, and how are you? It's good to meet you. She's got to be the initiator. And the feeling I'm getting about that is a lot of times she's in her head, and I think that there's a component of being shy sometimes with new environments and new people, so she needs to really get out of herself. She's in herself too much. And that's what causes her to have a particular look on her face that doesn't make her approachable or makes her look aloof. So I want to say, you know what? Get out of struggle mentality. Start looking at the fact that you are deserving. The question that she wrote was kind of interesting about making enough money to help other people, because I think we have to help ourselves first. And once you cannot give to others if you're an empty vessel.
Absolutely.
You can't. You got to take care of yourself first, and then there's more enough to give to others. So my feeling is that she might have an old belief system that taking care of the self is selfish. No, it's necessary. So she's got to make a lot of tweaks in her life and make some internal changes, and then things are going to start to flow for her. But this is the year to do it. She's in a 7-year, and this is where you lay the foundation for more money. So start getting creative, get out of your head, get rid of those old tapes from the past, and watch what happens.
Pretty good. Well, maybe I'll chime in with my 2 cents too now, because we do see the same thing but in different ways. I do see that she's got good money opportunities coming in this year, starting in about 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
And the reason that she gets this flack from people that don't know her is she comes across very intelligent and very professional, which is threatening to a lot of people on the job. It's like they can already look at her and see that she's more knowledgeable and better at it than they are. So I agree with you. She needs to be the one to diffuse the situation by approaching people first, because she does come off a little unapproachable.
Aloof.
Right.
That's how they interpret it.
Well, that's their problem, though, isn't it?
It is, but we also have to understand that not everybody's like us, and it just be warm. When you smile, that actually opens your heart, and people feel that, because people assess people within the first 7 seconds of meeting them. Before they even open their mouth, they've assessed you.
Right. I agree. They judge you on all kinds of terms. I've gone through that myself,
I'm sure, Meria, you're one powerful lady.
I guess I'll keep going through it myself.
I don't want to cross your path in a bad way, you know what I mean?
The only difference is I don't care, and I never did care about what other people thought of me. So,
yeah, I mean, what that can come across as being like,
Well, listen,
whatever.
I'm very friendly, too, if people give me a shot, but I'm not going to go, lower myself to beg somebody to talk to me.
Well, you remember how intimidated I was not to contact you, remember?
I know, and I couldn't even understand that, especially since
I know,
David
but I was
suggested
until
it.
I asked David. He goes, no, contact her. So I did, and I was like, oh, she responded.
What a surprise. Well, every time somebody subscribes to my show or sends me a note, I answer it. And they're like, they must think I have a team of people taking care of all this for me. And they get surprised that I actually answer them. And I'm like, why not? I'm a person just like you. I'm not Oprah. I don't have 500 people working for me.
Right, I don't either.
And it's just good manners. Anyway, I have some more questions. You ready to pay attention to this one?
Uh-huh.
Okay, this one's from Louise, November 3rd, 1969. She says, I've been feeling malaise for the last 3 weeks or so. After years of chaos in my life, everything has settled down, and now I'm struggling with the calm. I wonder if the universe has benched me in readiness for a new spiritual experience.
You know what I want to say to that? Duh. And that's not being disrespectful. I'm saying that this woman has got a lot of talent in her life, and I'm glad that the chaos is behind her, but I would like her to answer a question, ask herself, and give herself the answer. What did you learn from that chaos? Mm-hmm. Now, because the thing is that there's nothing lost unless we lose the lesson. So things don't happen to us, they happen for us. Mm-hmm. And if people start looking at that particular little phrase, you'll start to get, oh, so that's what it happened. It happened for me, so I could do this, so I could do that, so I can adjust on the inside, because we create our world. Mm-hmm. We're co-creators. So if we see that the world is reflecting back to us where we need to make changes on the inside, we can change it because we created it in the first place. Chaos didn't happen to her, it happened for her. So my feeling is this. The calm, for some people, feels boring because they're so used to drama that became their normal. And so what I see for her, and at this point in time, I feel that, this is a lady who's got writing within her. That's what came to my mind. She's a good communicator and a good writer. I just feel like right now she's upping her frequency. In other words, like Einstein said, life is energy, and that's all there is. Raise your vibrational frequency to match that which you want, and you shall have it. This is not a philosophy. This is physics. Mm-hmm. So if she wants something in her life, she can't be at a low frequency and expect to get it back. That would be as stupid as looking in the mirror with a frown on your face expecting a reflection to smile back. That ain't going to happen. So my feeling with her is that she needs to embrace what's happening now, and from that she'll be led to the next thing.
Right. Well, one thing I have found through the years, because it happens to me too, where you feel like you've just been stopped, everything just stops. Mm-hmm. And what I realized after it's happened enough times is that that's usually preparing you for something coming that's big. And you need that break. You need that rest. You need to regroup. But when I'm looking at Louise's timeline, what I see is somewhere along the line, she's forgotten to have fun. She's forgotten to enjoy her life, go out dancing, be with friends, laugh. But all that looks like it's going to start to change as early as next month. So she just needs to hang in there and be patient.
And have fun, like you said, because having fun, laughing, and music they all raise your vibrational frequency.
Right.
They're healers. And so we need to, when I got that message back in 1987, I remember it so clear that it was 1987 because I wasn't having fun. my spirit guide said, you need to laugh more. And I said, like what? Just laugh? They said, no, watch something funny on TV. And I got hooked on the Golden Girls because they cracked me up.
All right. It was a great show.
So funny. And then there was Seinfeld. And so I was addicted to those because I was laughing constantly. And I realized, wow, this is making me feel good. And that's the whole key. If it makes you feel good, then it's right. If you're feeling bad, then your vibrational frequency is too low. And don't be afraid to ask your loved ones on the other side to send you some peace and harmony and some good energy, because that'll also raise our frequency. It just happened to me yesterday. I woke up sad, and I said, Daddy, I need some peaceful energy. And within about 10 minutes, I felt it, and it was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So we can ask for that as well. You know, we have helpers everywhere.
Exactly. Remember that, ask and you shall receive. But be careful what you ask for, because you will receive.
Oh, my God. I remember Wayne Dyer. Do you remember Wayne Dyer?
Oh, yeah. He was great.
I went to one of his lectures, and he said, but if you want a Mercedes, make sure you see yourself in the car, or your next door neighbor will get it.
Right. Well, you know, it's important. You know, yeah, I agree. But, you know, talking about fun, it's crazy because I remember, I don't know, it must have been about 20 years ago, Monica. And I was doing a speaking tour through the Southwest. And I remember standing in front of this one group, and I think we were in, I want to say, New Mexico. And I get up in front of the room, and there's, you know, they all looked like they were pretty affluent people and, you know, happy enough. And as soon as I got on the stage, you know, being a New Yorker with my New York wit, I just looked at the audience, and the first thing I said to them was, very slowly, F you. And then I waited. You should have seen the looks on the face. It was the immediate shock value. And then I slowly added, N. Have you had any lately?
Oh, my God, that's hilarious. I love it.
And when I asked them, you know, when's the last time you had fun? First of all, almost no one raised their hand. And when I asked them if they even remember what fun is, they had no idea.
Wow, that's an interesting observation. That's so telling. You know, when you tell that story, my mother raised me, you know, like my mother only went to the 8th grade, but she's the wisest woman in the world, very intuitive herself. And she said, make sure you give people electric shocks because they need to wake up. And that's exactly what you did. Later on, when I studied neurolinguistics, and I'm certified in neurolinguistics, they call it a pattern interrupt. So you interrupted their pattern neurologically by throwing them something that shocked them, you know, and then you got their attention. And that is brilliant.
Right. And I remember, you know, altering that, where sometimes I'd have a whiteboard and I would just draw on the whiteboard as they walk in the room, one of the 7 dwarfs, and I would write, happy isn't just one of the 7 dwarfs. Oh,
nice.
But yeah, hey, as you know, I'm good for shock value.
Yeah, oh gosh, of course. Are you kidding me? That's a wonderful gift that you have, you know?
Well, look, whatever it takes to wake people up, I'll try it all.
You give them an electric shock. That's what my mom said.
That's why I'm a shockaroo. All right, The next question is from Patricia. Yes. Let's see. I don't even know if I got her birth. I got two people on top of the other, so I'm trying to figure out whose birthday's who. I don't think this is Pat's birthday, so I don't have.
Okay. I can do it without the birthday.
Okay. She said, when we have dreams, and there are people in those dreams we don't know, where do they come from? She said, I understand having dreams with people and animals that are in our lives, but vivid dreams with people we don't presently have in our lives always seems confusing.
Okay, this is easy to delineate. People that we don't recognize, what you have to do is you have to look at their demeanor. Are they nice? Are they threatening? Are you scared of them? Are they people that are kind? You have to look at their demeanor, because what they do is everything in a dream represents us. So there's an aspect that's trying to show itself to you about yourself. So that's why you don't recognize them at all, because they're actually just aspects of the self, and they're coming in life form, because people can understand when they see a picture of a person or they get a dream of a person as opposed to just feelings, or, you know what I mean? It's easier to, like, when people think about God, religion says it's a man, when it's not. It's actually an energy, but it's easier to interpret or to, you know, to see like a person. But when you become more evolved, you realize it's a force of energy that's pure love. But it's hard to connect with that for some people. So they have to have avatars and people that incarnated and, so they can envision something. So people in dreams that you don't recognize are actually aspects of yourself. Now, if that person was aggressive and intimidating, you might want to look inside to see where you can change that, because it's probably existing. Mm-hmm. If you're easily feared by something, perhaps there's some cowardice within and you're not facing something. If there's kindness and generosity and warmth and love, that's also telling you who you are. Or if it comes at the last part of a dream, mm-hmm. that's the solution for you. It depends on where it's placed, because dreams are divided into three parts.
Right.
The beginning, the middle, and the ending, right? The middle, the beginning is the genesis of where something started, a particular pattern or belief system. The middle is how it's manifesting now, and the end is the end result. So it depends on where that person came in the dream.
Right. Well, I've done dream work for a long time, and I do agree that everybody in your dream is a reflection of yourself, but I also know there are multiple layers in dreams. For myself, absolutely. I know when I'm dreaming, there's a lot of people in my dreams that are not here in this waking reality or my present life. But I do know that I know those people. Okay, so sometimes you could be having an out-of-body and actually visiting home or another time and space where you know the people that are there. Clearly,
because there's precognitive dreams, there's out-of-body experiences, meeting people from past lives, meeting family members that you didn't know, but you know that you're connected. I mean, you're absolutely correct.
Right, and for me, sometimes I wake up and it's like, where are those people? Do you know what I mean? Uh-huh. You wake up and you kind of miss it, You're like, oh no, yeah. I'm back here. Oh, with this crowd of people, okay.
Yeah, and it's perhaps because of the way they made you feel and how they interacted in your life. So you do have to be careful, and know how to interpret something, because there are different categories. Even nightmares are really, really good for people, because those are the people that probably say that I don't dream at night.
Right.
So let me throw you a nightmare so you can remember this information, because it's necessary for you to know. Dreams are always helping us.
Oh, yeah. Spirit will get your attention one way or the other.
Oh, yeah. You get the shock value when you have a nightmare, that's for sure.
Right. Monica, you and I are going to take a little break. Everybody stay with us. We will be right back. Hi, this is Maria Heller. If you're enjoying this show, please consider listening to the rest of it, along with hundreds of other hours of education, by a small subscription on my site. Get over to meria.net, meria.net. You are the only thing that supports this show. There's no corporate control, and there's plenty of education on site. So please consider either a subscription or a donation to keep the work going. There are too many alternative voices out there that are being silenced because of lack of support. So if you don't want MSM to be the only mind-controlling news out there, please consider supporting the people that support you, and help us all save something for the future for our children. Thank you so much.